Hey everyone, it's Arfan with the Successful Lead Generation Coaches Show, and today I have an episode where I want to talk about it. It's something that I see over and over again, and here's the thing: most coaches are stuck in a cycle they don't even realize they're in. Waking up every day thinking, what do I post today? What groups do I go to add friend requests? Trying to stay visible, trying to stay relevant, trying not to fall behind because they know if they don't do this on a daily basis, it feels like they're failing. It feels like they're maybe disappointing some people or disappointing themselves, and they get stuck in a rut from posting every day, and it really leads to just a big part of burnout. Here's the thing: the truth is that posting every day is not a scaling strategy. This content survival is really not business growth, right? So today I'm going to show you the mindset shift, the strategy shift, and the system shift that lets ad do the heavy lifting so you can get back your time without sacrificing lead flow or revenue. As a matter of fact, when done correctly, you're going to increase your lead flow and you're going to increase your revenue while gaining back a lot of time to be able to do the things that you actually want to do and be able to actually post the stuff that you actually want to post without feeling like you're having to force it or without feeling you need to go scour groups and friend requests and have a bunch of DMs and taking up a lot of your time. Because the truth is, I talk to a lot of coaches and what they're doing right now, and it's often where they're 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, they're responding to DMs or trying to get DMs, and the close rate is very low, and it's just a lot of work, a lot of labor, and everyone of them tells me the same thing. They don't want to be on a hamster wheel. They don't want to be in DMs. They just want to have leads that come in and have a system to where they can convert those leads into paying customers and then be able to scale that predictably without it being expensive, without wasting a whole bunch of money. And today I'm going to talk about how to get there, okay? Because Facebook advertising is the fastest way to be able to scale and the fastest way to be able to reach your ideal client, okay? So let's dive into it, right? The truth is that the content hamster wheel is real, right? Coaches are posting 20 to 30 pieces of content a week across platforms. This includes posting stories on their newsfeed, in the groups, on Instagram, going live, and even doing email marketing, which I love email marketing, so I'm not dogging that at all. I'm not dogging any of this, right? I do content stuff too as well. I produce these podcast episodes, YouTube videos. I post on social media as well, but I also run ads to increase my lead flow, and I know how to convert those lead flow, right? Because right now, organic reach is an all-time low. And as I talk to different clients, especially those who even have a big following, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 plus following, and we look at their reach and compare to how much the followers they have is dismal. Their posts are maybe getting over 1,000 views or so. And there's all these tactics in the world of like do this, and that to get viral posts, and it's like end up getting more onto the constant hamster wheel, trying to chase getting a viral post, right? And the thing is, even with that, visibility doesn't equal predictability because you may get likes, but you don't get consistent leads. And it's also not predictable. It's not so much where you can, like, I'll post 3 reels this week and I will know that I'm going to be getting X amount of leads coming in from those reels. It doesn't work like that. It's like, don't post this reels and then it's like, okay, please, Instagram, distribute my content so I can see if this works or not. Okay. And it's not predictable. And it also really comes down to like a big feeling of like, there's a guilty feeling, so to say, that when you have to show up every day, and when you don't, it really like it feels like this guilt just can be overwhelming. Like, oh, I gotta post, I gotta do something, and it's just an overwhelming path, and it leads to burnout really fast. And it's where I see a lot of times people stop and they're reinventing themselves and coming back and trying to do something different, which leads into the same cycle over and over again. And then we have those who are like, hey, Arfan, let's I need a good ad strategy. Let's start off. Let's implement this. Let's make it work. Let's tweak it, optimize it, and make it produce the results I want. And they have a zest. Like I hop on calls, and we're the conversations are different. The heaviness from the beginning is gone. So the thing is, posting daily doesn't grow a business. Systems do. Systems is what grows a business. Okay. Now, if you incorporate the organic with some systems, and you have a really great like video posting cadence, and you're really great at doing videos, and you do notice like, hey, I post videos, I get 20, 30, 40,000 views, and they go viral. It's a bit of a different. You're going to be noticing results at a different scale versus someone who's posting consistently, constantly, and not really getting those things. Okay, so it's a little bit different. So imagine what's going to happen now when you add ads into the mix, because all those video views end up becoming a warm audience retargeting, to where you can group them all together and send an ad specifically for everyone who's consumed those videos if they've watched 25%, 75%, and that's one of the deep strategies a lot for scaling and even increasing the return ad spend and driving a lot more revenue without even having to do anything. You can continue that entire cadence of producing your content, now adding on ads on top of it to retarget those people ends up increasing the bottom line a great amount. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about why ads change the entire game. So here's the thing, is right, ads don't care if you're tired, ads don't care if you're sick, ads don't care if you're just not feeling it today, right? They run while you work, while you sleep, while you coach, while you travel, while you're at the gym, while you're taking a walk, while you're spending time with your kids. They're working for you, and this is one of the cool things about it, right? They are constantly going to be on and constantly doing a thing for you, right? Every video you record becomes an asset, and not a post that gives you a short 12-hour, 24-hour lifespan, or maybe if you're very fortunate, you see success on a post for 48 hours, 72 hours, but it tapers off drastically. So Facebook delivers your message to the exact people most likely to become buyers, or most likely to be interested in your brand, which in the future will become buyers. Because the truth is that at any given moment, there's really only about 3% or so of people who's ready, willing, and able to buy right now. But the others will end up converting at a future time. They convert later on. They may take 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, right? So it is something you're kind of playing the short and the long game. A short game of, I want to capture these first 3%. Long game of, I want to have a pipeline of leads that I will be converting over the next 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 months. So your future promotions are more successful. And it's one of those things where it's like you may struggle to fill a 15 to 20 person group program, but then that becomes the norm because now you have the leads in the pipeline, and then you're like, hey, it's a challenge for me to get 75 or 80 people. Well, that's a great position to be in, because it's, at the beginning now all these leads are increasing, and next thing you know, you're having more and more success, and things just start feeling a lot easier, a lot lighter, and you're having a system in the back end that's working for you. With proper ad strategy, again, you're generating consistent leads, you're building your warm audience, you're testing your messaging, you're guiding your sales system or your sales team if you have that, and you get to repeat this every day without you actually having to repeat it. It's an automated system that's working for you, okay? This is one of the first mindset shifts. You're not posting, you're building a machine, okay? And I want to maybe translate this a different way. You're not gambling, you're developing a predictive system that's going to help you scale, okay? It's the same concept, right? You're not posting, you're building a machine. And I want to stress that because ads can feel like it's a gambling when you're running ads, but that's not the case, okay? So a couple of shifts that you must take, honestly, because you really want to get these going, okay? So here's the thing. Content is what you post for the algorithm. Creative assets are what you build for scaling. And the creative assets are content videos that actually get to show people who you are, why you do what you do, and how you can help them. They're posts that helps to nurture those people who are already in your audience. An asset is a VSL, a video sales letter that's maybe 20, 25 minutes that speaks directly to your ideal client, pain problems they have. Or if not a VSL, a webinar. A good webinar can change the trajectory of your business. A mentor told me this a few years ago, and it really resonated, and I see it over and over again play out with clients I work with. A good webinar can change the trajectory of your business. And I'm talking about a good webinar. We've ran the same webinar for over 6 years now. Not me personally, but for one of our clients. And there's a few others that we've been running for clients for years now. I think a good webinar or a good VSL, a good masterclass, all interchangeable, can change the trajectory of your business, okay? Another asset, short form video ad. A video ad is another asset. A testimonial ad. You have testimonials turn into an ad. This is another asset. Each has a job. Each of them is reusable, and each of them compounds because what it does is that it builds up. It gains engagement, system optimizes, shows it to new people, and you're constantly building your list, building your lead flow, increasing your pipeline with people who are qualified that wants to convert and go into your offer. Shift number 2 is you're moving away from being a platform-centric, meaning that you're you're thinking like, and you're moving into system centric. So it's like most coaches think of platforms like, I need to post on Instagram, either Instagram Live, Instagram Stories, or I should be on TikTok, or I need to start a YouTube. And they're focusing on these different platforms and trying to do it all. And it's a very, very quick way, again, to just going into just like saying, I can't do this anymore. It's not sustainable. So high level coaches, and those who are most successful, if you dive in on the back end, they think in system. Okay. And our gas system, which is grow, right? This is where we want to get different content. We want to reach a cold audience. This is the phase where we want to test our messaging to see, what level of awareness is our ideal client at, and how can we meet them at these little different points to bring in more highly qualified lead. You want to automate this process by having a good webinar funnel, VSL funnel, a good nurture sequence on the back end, and also a good cadence for scaling ads, knowing what system you want to have. What promotions are we going to do in Q1 and Q2 and Q3 and Q4, because everything should sort of feed into each other. So again, you want to compound that system, and then you want to add scalability into it, right? This is where now you have a lot more conversions, predictive conversions happening. We're running retargeting campaigns, and we're increasing the budget because we have predictability during the growth phase, and we're automating things. So we have predictability to knowing that out of every 1 to 200 leads, I get about X amount of sales, or X amount of calls. Out of X amount of calls, I have this conversion rate. And once you have this is a system that you're developing. Now, when you think in systems, your content finally works. When you think in platforms, you stay stuck. You stay stuck. Excuse me, and not you don't suck. So apologize for that. Obviously misspoke. So when you're in platforms, you're also like at the crutch of the algorithm, based on if the algorithm is going to push you out or not. And it can favor you one day and it can not favor you the next. It can favor you 1 week and all of a sudden it can feel like you've been shadow banned just because of you don't even know exactly what it is. With ads, you get instant feedback. We can see the click-through rate. We can see the click rate. We can see what people are engaging on them. So we could know, hey, does this ad suck? In other words, like when you put a post up, you really don't know if it sucks. I've had clients give me, like they put posts up, I'm like, hey, this guy should be a good ad. I take it from their Instagram, I take it from their Facebook, I run it as an ad, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, this does really good. But organically, it had 800 reach or 1,000 or 2,000 reach. It didn't really get very far. But when we actually put it in front of the audience, we got the response we were looking for, which is a successful post, a successful asset, because it was a recorded piece of content that was really valuable. Okay, shift number 3, and this is the last shift I'm going to talk about here, is you want to go from lead uncertainty to lead predictability. Okay, we want to be able to, again, have that predictability in business. Organic really comes down to basically like this, right? Did today's post bring me anything? Nah, I'm not sure. And again, depending on the scale you are, if you have like 1,000 followers, you may say I did a post and I got maybe 20, 30 people comment to activate my ManyChat. Out of those 20, 30 people, a handful already said yes. That's not predictability. That's just like, oh yes, I put a content out there and I got some feedback. But if you do that again, it's not going to be the repeatable or the same type of feedback. And how do you measure the actual cost per lead on that? How do you measure your time involved into creating that, the team effort to put the post up and then building out the system on the back end? It really becomes really tough, right? As is, I know I'll generate X leads this week because my system is running. Okay, and you could take that further because it's just, what does a lead mean to you? Is a lead someone who actually purchases your low ticket offer, or is a lead someone who just gives you name, email, address, phone number for a PDF or a guide or some sort of video VSL, or is a lead someone who booked a call? You get to clarify that as far as what you're looking to generate, and you could develop your advertising system to help you get that outcome, knowing that if it's calls, you want to be booking calls. If it's just name, email, you want to be just generating that consistently, because what happens is that predictability creates confidence, confidence creates better decisions, and better decisions lead to scale. And that's what we want. We want to be able to scale. We want to be able to get our time back. And I say this with extreme confidence because I talk to dozens and dozens and dozens of coaches, and I've worked with dozens of coaches, and it's always the same thing. Like, hey, how do I get this to work so I can scale? How do I get this to work so I can not be on socials all the time? How do I get this to work so I can not be in DMs all the time? How do I get this to work so I can know that if I put $1 in, I'm getting $2, $3, $4, $5 back out? Okay? So those are the 3 shifts to make. Again, just to recap, we're going from content to creative assets, going from platform-centric to a system-centric mentality, and then going from lead uncertainty to lead predictability. Okay? So here's a couple things of what the transition, like what coaching is gonna look like after this shift, and also think about what it feels like. Okay, as I'm saying this, think about what it feels like for you in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, because here's the before. It's stress posting, trying to figure out what's what you want to post, what you want to say. It's random engagement, where it's sporadic. You may get some reactions, you may not. You may get some comments, you may not. Guessing on what content works, because you're looking back and saying, okay, well, this one right here got a whole bunch of comments. Let me try to do the same thing again. Or you're trying to guess on like what's actually working. You have no idea where the next lead is really going to come from. You just know that you need to post. You need to do this because that's how you're potentially going to be getting leads. And there's a constant pressure to stay visible because there's an internal belief or a feeling of that if you're not posting, if you're not showing up, you become invisible. Okay? Now here's what happens after, right? Ads handle the discovery, meaning that people are finding you and you're building your brand awareness and you're building your assets on the back end, which is your creative assets. You're building your assets like your email list and actually getting more engagement, more followers on your socials. Your posts are handling nurture, because now as people enter into your world, these are people who are going to be able to see your post as you post regularly, and you can also take it and retarget the audience so that when you put a new post, you can put a few dollars behind it and make sure that after 24 hours of going organic, you let it actually now reach your audience. And this is kind of like quote unquote boosted posts without boosting a post, because that feature sometimes doesn't work the way we want it to work, like the way we intend it to work. So we're using the back end to basically take this post and we're going to run it for engagement, run it for video views, so that way now our new leads or the people who are already in our pipeline, they're seeing our continuous nurturing content. Then after that, you have a system in place where you're handling objections and you're converting people into taking the next step, whether it's buying, booking a call, or purchasing. And really what it comes down to is you're really just recording maybe 1 to 3 videos a week that fuels your ecosystem versus trying to post every day, going on stories every single day and trying to think about what content do I post to get clients. And you could just do it for fun. You could just do it. You want to share a story just because you're having fun and you want to let people, maybe you want to let your family, your friends, your followers know like what life is like in your shoes. Okay. And then lastly is the system grows while you coach more. The system grows while you enjoy life more. The system grows while you do what you truly want to do more. Okay? So that is the before and that's the after. How does that feel for you, right? Think about that. So, there's a bit of a roadmap, because you could start this shift today. You could start recording content today, even if it's not like going to be ads. You can record these these strong content videos that they're really powerful and that they get into the mind. These are actionable, educational. You're not pitching. You just want to let your ideal client know, like, hey, I get you, I understand you, I know what you want, I know what you desire, I know what you need, and I'm just conveying that to you, so I'm getting your attention. You can also plan on launching a simple VSL funnel, a simple webinar funnel, a simple workshop funnel. What resonates with you? Like, saying VSL, video sales letter, that sounds like blah. But I'm just giving a generic name, right? These things are all specific, right? A VSL really comes down to just what piece of content you're doing. And it starts off with a hook, a story, a call to action, right? So the hook is, what's the biggest pain point? What's the biggest want right now of your ideal client? How can you help them to gain clarity on that? And then in that process, bring them up to the level of awareness to where they now know about their problem a lot more clearly. They now know about the solution a lot more clearly. And they also know about the product a lot more clearly, which is the product is your offering, your program. And then you give them a call to action to say, hey, now that you know about the pain, the problem, there's a solution out there, there's a product out there, is my product, let's hop on a call to talk about it. Here, click on this link to purchase it right now, depending on the price. It doesn't need to be perfect, right? There's no such thing as perfection. It just needs to be done. Okay? And you just kind of start taking it and pushing it out one at a time per week. Okay? I always recommend starting out first with being able to reach and build a cold audience. And this will start off maybe $5 to $10 a day. And then you start increasing along the way. But you want to start establishing some sort of lead generation, whether you're actually collecting leads in name, email, phone number, or however much information you want, or you're actually building up leads through the system. Because Facebook, once someone engages with you, the pixel tags them, and you have that person in your ecosystem for 365 days, right? So there's two ways of building that asset up, and it takes about $5 to $10 a day. It's really doesn't really come out to a whole lot, but if you want to do this at a greater level, you obviously would be putting more into it depending on where you're at. So it's very intro level talking right now. For those who are beyond intro level, you could do this with content you have, and you're doing $5-10 a day per video per post. So it may come out to like $30 to $40 to $50 a day. But what's happening is that you're generating high quality leads because they're seeing your content, they're seeing your video. So by the time they sign up for anything that you're offering them, they know who you are, they know what you're about, and they're not just coming in just totally green where they give a name and email and just didn't open up an email or anything like that. They just like, all they know is that they clicked on the ad and that was it. Like, you're giving them more than that. And then from there, you want to let the system run. You want to give it a good chance. Typically 90 days, right? Because consistency is the secret weapon. You want to be visible, you want to show up, and you want to be in front of your ideal client as much as you possibly can. So like any good system, you want to run it for 90 days. Because if you just run it and turn it off 15 days in, you're not going to be able to generate enough leads. And I talked to someone the other day, and it was like, hey, I was like, we're just talking about ads, and they just kind of shared me how they ran ads before, and they were sharing some stats, and it was like, oh, people, I got some name, email, phone number, but no one responded to my text or the emails, etc. And we came to find out it was 20 leads, right? 20 leads is not enough. Like when we talk about an ecosystem of capturing leads, we're really talking about getting enough of a volume. And when you're reaching cold traffic, if you get like, let's say, 50 or even 20 people that come to you to a referral, that is a much different outcome versus you get 50 to like 60 people that came to you through a cold marketing. There's a big different outcome. Like I mentioned, that the average of 3% of people that are ready, willing, and able to buy right away. When you're getting a referral, that's part of that 3%. Someone's like, hey, I'm ready, willing, able to buy. Do you have someone you can recommend? They're like, yeah, I know, I know Susan, or I know so and so. Here you go. I'm going to recommend you to them. So you're getting someone that's part of that 3% already. When you're in a cold audience, you're getting all kinds of folks. Those who are part of the 3%, those who are not, right? So you need to have enough leads. You do the math on that. Of every 100 people, this will be about averaging about 3%, or 3% conversion. And this number plays out when you have more leads. It plays out more like 400 to 500 leads versus the first 100. If you gauge it just on the first 100, it may not be the exact case. Because sometimes you have kinks to work out in your system to make sure either the system is functioning properly as it should, that people are getting the right email, the right videos, etc. And in addition to that, you have some times where you can get 20, 30 leads and you get like 4 to 5 buyers. And the next 30, 40 leads, there's nothing. And that's just part of it. It's human. Like we're not just collecting leads from robots who are predictable and it's always 3%. These are actually humans, actually people. Every name and email address is a person behind it. Well, I don't say every because there are robots out there. But most of the time, about 80 to 90% of your list are legit, actual people who are needing your service or what you're putting out, your offer, your course, etc. So you want to let it run for a good 90 days because this is what's going to help you to really gain traction and be able to see what's working, not working. And even if this is $5-10 a day, again, you gotta let it run for a long term. You get quicker feedback and quicker response to be able to adjust and edit, make decisions if you're using a higher budget. But you always want to start off low and scale up as you see things are winning. Okay, so here's the thing. I know that you didn't become a coach to become a content creator, right? You became a coach to transform people's lives. You became a coach to help people out, and you became a coach to make a difference. In addition to that, you became a coach to have more time, to not be succumb to like a regular 9 to 5 or be tied down to a computer. Okay, so if you're tired of posting every day, if you want a predictable way to grow, and if you want ads that actually work for you, not drain you, then my team and I can help. So I'm going to offer you to book a free Scale with Ads strategy session. We'll look at your niche, your offer, your numbers, and what I'll do is I'll show you exact system you need to replace the content grind with predictable growth. So you can now say, hey, I'm a lead generator. I'm not a content producer. I'm not a content creator. We're going to be creating content for ads, right? But you're changing that little shift and that mentality shift, okay? So just go to ourphonethesame.com/start. You find a link right there. It's a free call, free 30-minute call. And just book that call and let's chat, see if it's a good fit to work together. If not, if I give you the strategy, if we look over what you have and you want to implement yourself, totally cool too as well. Either way, total free call. Let's connect, let's chat. ourphonethesame.com/start. I look forward to chatting with you. Have a great one. Catch you next episode.